Speaking of, you mentioned playing bass. You actually got to play bass on stage with Pantera when
I sure did.
Rex was ill. I think it was in Chile somewhere. That had to be a trip. So tell me how that goes down. How much notice did you have? And what was, I mean, that crowd was huge.
How much notice? We're at the airport flying from Brazil into Santiago, Chile. I may have the flight wrong, but the show is in Santiago, Chile. And I'm at the airport. I'm sitting with Grady or Steve and Abel, whatever, just bullshitting. And all of a sudden I get a hand on my shoulder. It's Philip. He's like, "Hey, man, could you play Cowboys from Hell on bass?" I was like, "Fuck yeah." He's like, "Right on. You're going to have to do that tomorrow." I said, "Okay." And I didn't know how yet. I never tried it. I just fucking, I'm like, okay. So the next morning I took one of Rex's basses and I'm like, every chance I got during my day, I'm like trying to figure, okay. I mean, the song's in my head and my heart, but had I played it? No. But the reason that happened is because Rex tested positive for COVID. And a couple of years back, it may be the same now. I haven't been back to South America since that tour, but man, random COVID testing, if you test for or temperature's high, you're like, "We're sending you home. You're out of here."
Wow.
And Rex didn't want to leave. Of course not. But COVID, he had no choice.
Yeah.
So Philip had been touring with the Illegals, and they've been doing Pantera sets, vulgar display of Pantera. Right. So he has a Pantera. He has a band that knows Pantera. So Derek Engelman was flying in, and he knew all the other songs, but they never did Cowboys from Hell. So Philip asked me if I could. So I said, absolutely. So it got to the end of the set, and there it was. And I'm like, all right. So, yeah, man, I jump right out, and we start playing Cowboys from Hell and crisscrossing the stage with Zakk Wylde, man. I'm like, this is far fucking out.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
How many people in that crowd?
Dude, I don't even know. I heard word of 60,000. I mean, it's a huge soccer stadium.
For sure, yeah.
But
how I discovered this whole scenario, and thank you for telling that story because it's a mother of a story, is the video came out, had to be the next day. I could have been that night or something. It was Carla Harvey, which is Charlie's fiance or wife at this point. Yeah. And she's a bad motherfucker herself. So,
sure.
Yeah. So anyway, Carla's video comes up, and the video's going, and the audience is just going batshit, and you're bouncing, and I see that smile and that white beard, and there's zero information as to why it's you and not Rex.
Sure.
And I'm reading him going, "Oh, that's Bobby. I know that's Bobby. How come I'm not reading his name anywhere? I'm reading, and it's not anywhere. That's fucking Bobby." So I think I texted you. I'm like, "Dude," and you were like, "Dude."
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, I never understood why Bobby was only on for Cowboys, because I was like, wait a minute, did he play the whole gig? And if he only played one song, does that mean Rex played up until that point and then Bobby stepped in? So Rex is gone, and then the other dude from the Illegals basically plays the set, and you come in and play the one song he doesn't know.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly. And the timeline, I learned it that day, man.
Yeah.
I was like, sure, I got this.
Yeah, but like you said, phonetically, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's like a third eye thing. You probably would have done fine, just like if something worse would have happened and they would just handed you the bass. Okay, you're playing Cowboys. Oh, no rehearsal. No.
Yeah. Oh, there was no rehearsal.
Well, you know what I mean. No any chance you get not knowing you were going to have to do it at all. Yeah, that's a thing.
So had I had to do the whole set, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have said no. I would have fucked up left and right. I don't care. That's who I am. I got this.
Yeah.
But Derek was badass, and he played a couple shows because it was at the end of the run, and so Derek stood up tall. He did a great job, and
Well, it's good. It's good that didn't have to happen more than that one time or a few times, or it's good. So
that's the story of a lifetime, right?
Yeah,
there.
It is, man.
That's a Bigfoot sighting.
That's crazy. Woo. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay. So to give everybody that's listening and watching a little bit of background as to how you got this gig, I'm going to run through the Cliff's Notes version of it, and then you fill in any blanks I may be leaving out, because I kind of want to connect the dots for people who may be thinking that you just walked into this show or this gig. So you're a local musician here in Austin.
Yep.
You have many bands, one of which is Honky, and my understanding is that when Honky would play New Orleans, the Down guys would come see you, and you got to kind of be friends with the Down guys.
Yes.
And through that friendship, you started teching for Kirk Winstein.
Exactly.
Down. So you're out touring with Down now. You're a member of the touring crew.
Yeah.
Kirk steps out of Down at one point, and you become the guitar player for Down.
That's right.
And then, obviously, with Philip singing for Down, therein lies the Pantera connection. And then Rex was part of Down as well. He came in a little later, but so you're buddies with Phil and Rex because of the connection to Down. And that's how you got into this gig that we're talking about today.
Yeah. Yeah. Kirk asked me to tech for him, and it staged right. And the gig was both Kirk and Rex. So I worked for both Kirk and Rex. When Over the Under came out, that Down record, they were on tour with Heaven and Hell, Dio Sabbath.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so that's where I was at. I started with Down in Australia, 2007, I think. I forget exactly. So that's the relationship with Phil and Rex started with Down.
Yeah, yeah.
And but now the Pantera thing, nobody knew about it. And I was under strict orders not to say a fucking word about it, and I didn't. But no, I got a call. I was working at the Gibson Guitar Showroom here in Austin, and COVID was, we'd all been living through that, and it was ending. People are getting back to their real lives, and touring started up again. And I just got a call from Rex, like, "Hey man, Pantera is going out. I need you, man. You ready? You want to do this?" I'm like, "What the fuck you talking about? Pantera's going out." Yeah, I didn't know. I'm like, "Dude, I don't, sure? I don't know what you're talking about, Pantera." He's like, "Look, Zach, Charlie," and I was like, and I started like, "Okay, but you can't tell anybody." "Okay, so you want to do it? You're the first call I made." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's do this." Yeah. And sure. Then after that, Philip calls and he's like, "You can do it." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Thank God. Let's go do this, man." So Kate and Philip and Rex, they pulled me in. But and here I am, man, because of that.
Yeah.
And so everybody was handpicked for this. Zach's got his own guy, Steve, Father Steve, who's been with him for 10 years plus. But Grady's in because Grady knows Dime's tone, and Grady knows a lot of the insights. He's our well, he calls himself backline mom, but that's silly because he really is also a spiritual presence. I mean, it's Grady, man.
I get it.
Dragon. It's fucking Dragon, man. I mean, he was in grade school with Dime.
Right.
You know, I mean, they were those guys.
The Oracle.
So yeah. So to have Grady out there is so big for all of us, you know, and it's just, random times you're having dinner, talking shit outside the bus. So it's just like some story will come up. He's got them all. And he saw everything and was in the middle of everything.
He's done some candid interviews, like professional,
Yeah.
Not like our shitty little podcast here, but he's done some pretty cool, like in-depth Dime story after Dime story.
Yeah, man.
And like from the beginning when they met and they were best friends and yay, and the whole thing, like storyboard, if you will. And I sat and listened and watched that. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but I was like, damn, I mean, there was stuff on there I would have never known.
Right.
about
and
the
there's
connection.
so much.
Yeah.
It never ends, and it shouldn't. It's just, there's so many stories. I've probably forgotten so much that he said already, and Sonny, who's our LD, which is our lighting director, he's also from the original crew.
Oh, wow.
So because he knows all the cues and the points, and I mean, Sonny's got stories like, oh yeah, man, me and Rex were living in an apartment together, and everything was just starting, and when they're in the vans and the RVs, I mean, it was Grady and Sonny, so we have them out with us as well. So
he told the story about it, and you'll probably recall this, maybe not. Grady's telling a story about a Winnebago they had.
Yeah.
That
he already knows where you're going with that.
No, not yet. There's a bunch of stories.
It was a rental, and they did return it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like burnt to the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here's the Winnebago again. We're turning the, but they had to drag it onto the lot, and then they just rang the doorbell and ran, kind of a thing.
Right.
Because it just was burnt down. It was just shit.
Yeah. And it's real. You think Grady's telling you a story, you're going, dude, no way. But man.
Yeah. Yeah.